What's up, everybody? We are back with our episode of Behind the Lines NFL Week 6. I'm once again Ryan Reed at DudeManPA, your host. And this week I'm again joined by Daniel Dobish from VegasInsider at Daniel Dobish on Twitter. Daniel, how you doing this week?
Well, doing good, man. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun last week, and ready to pick some more winners today.
Absolutely. We ended up coming out with a Week 5 record of 9-7-1, which brings our total record to 30-17-2. I'm also excited to keep the wins rolling. If you told me I was going to win money every week, I would definitely sign up for that. So let's kick it off. We'll go right to Washington at Chicago. What do you got for this game for us, Daniel?
All right. Well, last week's Thursday game was a little bit of a bummer. So I saw this game on the schedule. I was like, oh, this is going to be a terrible game too. But I think we'll see at least a touchdown. So that'll be nice to sit through. Al Michaels will appreciate that too. He was really dogging the Broncos and the Colts last week. I could see under in this game, though. Also, Washington's got 35 total points of offense in the last 3 games. And that's not very good for over prospects. And Chicago's only averaging 17 points over the entire course of the season. And they're only allowing 21 points. So I think this is going to be another defensive slog again. Maybe not quite to last week where we had 12-9, obviously. But I could see 19-14, something like that. So this looks like another defensive battle. So fantasy owners, if you got defenses, you're going to love this game.
Oh, man. That makes it sound too easy, though. You know what happens when it sounds too easy.
Oh, sure. It'll be 45-33.
I'm going to mark you down for that under 38. I'm going to go out on a limb. We don't really have a ton of trends to support this. We do have bet against Chicago money line, bet against Chicago spread, and bet the over. Those 3 together, my little bit of poking around here. Carson went 6-0 on Thursday Night Football, means almost absolutely nothing, but there's a reason he keeps winning. Man, he's just going to throw the ball tonight. The Bears aren't really that good. I'm gonna go ahead and take Washington -1, and that's going to be my official play in this game.
Sweet.
Let's move on. Next, we've got Tampa Bay. Tampa Tom. Did he look like Tampa Tom last week? I saw that the Atlanta Falcons ended up making the cover, just as we predicted. I believe you had Tampa Bay -9.5, and I had Atlanta +10. That was one of the ones we split last week. We counted both of those in a record, so it ended up being a wash for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I was feeling pretty good when it was 21-0.
Absolutely. What are you thinking about this week when we've got the Buccaneers going to Pittsburgh?
You know, it's kind of hard. Obviously, Kenny Pickett's made 1 start now, and they scored 3 points. I mean, they got off to a terrible start with a 98-yard pass right off the bat against Buffalo. That game just got away from them in a hurry. Pittsburgh's averaging only 15 points a game with Trubisky or Pickett. It doesn't really matter. They're 30th in the NFL so far in scoring. Tampa Bay's defense has been a beast so far, pretty much against everybody except for the Kansas City game, which is obviously to be expected. They're on another plane. Both teams are trending to the under. This looks like another underplay, 44.5. That's a lot of points for this game, I think. I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to be able to do anything. Poor guy. I mean, he gets his chance and he faces Buffalo and Tampa in 2 weeks. That's a pretty rough stead.
I'm 100% in agreement with you here. I'm also on the under. I'll add in the Steelers are 5-1 to the last 6 as a host to the under, which works for our trend there. I see that a lot of people are betting the over. I'm not worried about it. I definitely, it hasn't gone anywhere either. That line hasn't moved. So I'm not sure that everybody knows what to do here, but I like Pittsburgh at home to possibly cover, but I'd feel a little bit safer. I'm with you under 44.5. That line was listed at -10 at PointsBet right before the show. That is going to be the official play there. And we'll move right along the list.
All right.
Bengals at Saints, Cincinnati and New Orleans. I'll let you start off with this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, this is an interesting game. New Orleans, I was checking out red zone efficiency. And when they get into the red zone, they don't fool around. They score. They're second so far this season in red zone efficiency. They've allowed 20 or more points in each of the 5 games also. I think that the Over is due for the Bengals. And if they're going to be able to do it against anybody, I think it's definitely going to be against the Saints. They give up a lot of points. And Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase going home down to Louisiana, Joe Burrow, I mean, they're going to be fired up for this game. I could also see the Bengals coming out and getting the win outright. But I like the over just a little bit. I think this is going to be a way higher scoring affair than the books think.
There's a lot of trend action on the under, so taking the opposite side of that and going with the over makes a lot of sense there. I mean, something can only hit in one direction so many times in a row before it goes back the other way. I'll mark you down for your under officially. I'm going to go with Cincinnati -1.5 to cover the spread in the Dome. I like those boys going back at home. They're either going to be partied out or they're going to blow it up. So one of those two things will happen. After the season that they've had going 2-3 so far, I think it's more likely to see these boys show up than to poop out. So I'm taking the Bengals -1. You're on the under. Let's move on.
Over. I got
sorry.
Over on this one. No, it's okay.
That's right. Good. We don't want to misspeak that. Over 43. Over 43. I see that at MGM right now, -110.
All right, cool.
All right. Jaguars, Indianapolis. This one's an interesting game. I thought there was some line movement that was a little bit weird earlier. Let's see. Jags. The total has come down, and everybody. Oh, yes. There's a lot of money on the under in this game. What are you thinking about here for the Jaguars? My official note was I'm going to take that under 42.5 before it runs away from me.
You know, I'm pretty positive this is the first rematch of the season, and the first time that they played back in week 2, Jacksonville piled it on 24-0. I think the Colts will make a little bit better of a showing. I don't think they're going to post a donut here, but Indianapolis is only scoring less than 14 points a game this season. Matt Ryan has looked like he's about 213 years old so far. The offense just isn't gelling. Jonathan Taylor obviously missed last week's game, and that's a huge miss for them. And the defense is playing really well for the Colts. So that's a good recipe for the under. The under is 9-2 in the past 11 meetings in this series in Indianapolis too, which is also helpful if you like that side. And then Jacksonville's just got amazing numbers against the Colts. They're 13-2-1 against the spread in the last 16 in this series, which is just crazy. But that's usually when they're catching like about 8, 9, 10, not just 2. I don't really like the side that much. I don't think the Jaguars are going to sweep the Colts. But I guess I'm kind of on the the under train. I wish I would have got it at 44, but I'll still go that way a little bit. That'll be my official pick, under.
I mean, I'm in full agreement that Matty Ice looks like he's Matty melted, and that's not going to fix itself. They might as well go ahead and call the Jets and see if Old Man Joe wants to come over now that Wilson has returned. The under, yeah, I think it's going to keep moving. It might cross 40. I like it where it was at right now. I think you're right. I think this is going to be a bit of a closer game, but it has gone for the 4 last in this series. We're under, and Indy's on a 10-game under, and that just goes to say that their offense hasn't been very good. So I like it. We'll move on with the unders. Patriots at the Browns. Notes here. I'm going to take over 43. What were you thinking in this game?
Yeah, I actually have the same exact thing written down. Over 43, circled, in fact. So I'm really excited about that.
Yes.
The Browns have hit the over 4 times on 5 games. The Browns are a strange team. They've lost 3 games. They have a losing record, but they've only lost by 6 combined points. I mean, that's tough. They really easily could be 5-0, which sounds funny. Bailey Zappi and the Patriots look pretty sharp against the Lions. I don't know what happened last week there. The Lions were scoring millions of points, and then they got a goose egg against the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots defense.
The show.
Yeah.
They just know we picked the over in that game and had to bust us on it.
You know, the Patriots are 22nd against the run, and the Browns, if they do anything well, it's run the football. I mean, they're at the top of the charts. Nick Chubb, Kareem on, even Jacoby Brissett, if he has to, can take off and run. And hey, it's the Jacoby Brissett reunion game too. He's playing against his old team.
Belichick reunion game also.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, he did nothing. He was such a genius with the Browns. He did nothing with them. But anyway, I will take the over officially. I think that 43.5 is just a little low. I don't think it's going to be, 31-30, 38-20, whatever the Chargers game was last week. I don't think it's going to be that high, but I think we'll see some points.
As a fellow bettor who cares about your bankroll, I can't let you do the 43. We're going to have to go with that, or the 43.5. We're going to have to go with that 43 that's still available on the board here in a lot of places.
Excellent. I could see.
Excellent.
I mean, 24-20 is not that hard to imagine in this game.
And when you start to see something that's getting this much action to an over and you're about to cross one of those key numbers, which 43 is going to be, I just want to get in front of it before we start getting into the weirder numbers. That's going to be a little bit harder to hit.
Definitely.
All right. My favorite team of the season, the Jets. I'm going to bet the Jets every week. I think that's become apparent. I don't care if it's Wilson, Old Man Joe. I'm just going to bet the Jets until something changes. Right now, I think they're covering. They're just not being respected. They were getting blown out every single game. I don't think they covered anything in 2021. And now they have yet to fail a cover in 2022, I believe. Man, just give me the Jets. We've got an odd number posted again on this one. I believe we have a spread over here, 8.5 on SI. I'm going to jump on that funky number just like we did last week. I don't mind taking it all the way down to 7. I would much prefer the 7.5. But if that doesn't say enough, JETS, Jets is my play.
I like it. I'm feeling another over in this game, actually. We've had 2 London games now and no bye after those games for any of the teams so far. Obviously, we've only seen 2 of the teams play, but both of those teams went over when they came back home, Minnesota and New Orleans last week against Seattle. Whether it's the defense just being tired and having little tired legs, whatever the case may be, we saw the over cash and cash easy last week for both of those teams. And I think the Packers, they're going to give up some points to the Jets. They threw up 31 on the road in week 2 against Cleveland. They won outright in Pittsburgh and looked like a solid NFL team. So I think the Jets can score points on this Packers team. And the Packers are obviously a little tweaked to what's been happening in the last couple of weeks too. So I think this could be a surprising shootout. So I would definitely go with the over here.
Everything you said makes me feel just as well about my Jets spread bet. So I like it. That works for me. Taking a stand on Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady to have a decline this season was one of the things I was looking into at the beginning of the year. It doesn't look like that train is going to change at this point. I don't know if you heard, but it sounds like Aaron Rodgers has gone ahead and told the Green Bay Packers that he's officially retiring after this season. Is that did you hear that?
Yeah, well, that sounds fine. I believe that
he's just trying to stoke the fire to get some player movement going there, get a little help.
Sounds like a little frustration right now, especially with all the loser talk that they had after last week's game, and he was kind of mad at Zaire Alexander, the whole deal. Tom Brady said the same thing, and now here we are. He's like 59 years old, still playing. So I think that I don't believe him until I actually see it. Just like all the Brett Favre stuff, I think he just wants to be like his buddy Brett Favre and keep himself in the news.
That is a goal sometimes. Keep yourself on the field, keep yourself in the news. Well, let's move into Ravens Giants, which when we were looking at the schedule in August, I don't know that anybody thought this was going to be an exciting game. I still don't know that anybody thinks it's going to be an exciting game, but I seem to think it's going to be competitive. Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, it's Super Bowl 35 rematch. I remember betting that game, and there was a kickoff return in that game, and I had the under, and I was so mad. But that's you can't be mad about things 18 years ago, really.
So you can, but
I usually am. Baltimore on the road, totally different team. They've scored 30.5 points in 2 road games.
6-3 last 9 away.
Yeah, and then going back to the red zone efficiency, I was checking out. Once they get into the red zone, I mean, they're 7th in the NFL, and New York is a surprising 13th. So these teams don't, and that's touchdowns. That's not just field goals. So they get down into the red zone. They don't fool around. And I'll go with the London trend. from last week. New York's coming
Mhm.
back 2-0 to the over for the teams last week, and I went with the Packers for the over. I'm going to take the over and the Giants in this game also until that small. We'll see. It's a small sample size, but I like it. I like what I've been seeing out of Baltimore's offense on the road, and Saquon's back. The Giants look legit. We'll see. It should be a fun game.
It should be a fun game. You made a lot of great points there. We're on opposite sides of this game. I have the under 45. Man, everybody's on the over, and I suppose that has a lot to do with the London trend. Every other trend points to an under. I like the Giants to kind of cover again, so that always makes me feel like the under's a little bit safer. So we're going to split that game. I'll take the under 45, and you want the over 45?
Sure. Hey, you got to stick with your original. Nothing's worse than you go with your first thought, and then you change it, and then your first thought comes through, and you're like, man, that happens so many times.
We'll have to do a side bet on every game we split after the show.
Nice. I like it.
That's only fair, right?
Sure.
Somebody's got to win. All right. Vikings, Dolphins. Are the Dolphins dead? I tried to play Teddy Bridgewater and Tyreek Hill for some player props last week, and it seems like the football's awful with the injuries in the first quarter. It seems as though every prop I play, the guy gets hurt right away, and then it's like, oh, there goes the end of my Sunday for that, at least. Where are you at with Vikings, Dolphins? In Miami, we finally losing some of the heat and humidity. It's still always going to be hot and humid, but it shouldn't be as bad as it was in early September.
You know, I saw this line originally, and it was pretty much like a pick 'em. And then the Skylar Thompson news came out. They're going to start him even if Teddy's ready, which it looks like he's going to be, and he's going to be the backup. I don't know what they saw in Thompson. I know a lot of the fans were clamoring for him to play in the preseason and whatnot, but I just don't see it. I think the Vikings are going to go down there and boat race the Dolphins. They looked terrible against the Jets last week. And Minnesota, you're playing against some trends here. They haven't covered in 4 games, but I think
pushed.
that this is true. They just haven't covered. I think that I'm going Minnesota minus 3.5. I'm just going with my initial thought when I saw this game before it gets too high. It's gone up quite a bit already this week. I just don't see the Dolphins being very competitive. Justin Jefferson's going to have a day. It's going to be it's going to be an interesting game, but I could see 27-13, something like that here.
27-13. That would make me a happy guy with the bet that I wrote down. And I got to save you from the hook here again. You're going to go -3 as I see it on a couple of books right there.
Even better. That's way better than 3.5.
I'm going to take this under 46, and I just don't feel like Miami's going to put up enough points. I do feel like the Vikings are going to put up enough to win/cover. I also like that -3, but we're going to go ahead and take that under 46. So if this thing ended up 27-13, that makes all of us happy. It's going to be a win-win for us, and then we'll just move right on. Niners, Falcons. Falcons are going to become my new favorite team if they keep covering every week.
This is my favorite trend that I looked up all the whole week.
Does it have anything to do with everybody being under forever?
No, it's the 49ers going to the Eastern time zone. They were here last week against Charlotte against the Panthers. Covered that one easy. Sent Matt Rule to the unemployment line, which makes a lot of Panthers fans happy. But last season, the Niners are 4-0 straight up, 3-1 against the spread in the Eastern time zone. In 2020, they were 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread in the Eastern time zone. They've covered 10 out of their last 12 into the Eastern time zone. For some reason, the Niners like waking up early, playing those 10 a.m. games, although last week's game was a 105 game for them. But Atlanta's 5-0. They've covered every single time, but I think that finally comes to an end, and I think the 49ers are going to put it on them, keep that trend alive. They've won 8 straight games straight up. So if you're a money line better, bets crazy money lines at 238, 240, whatever it is, go with that. But I think the 49ers are going to cover this game, and they're going to cover it pretty handily. I keep betting against the Falcons. I have this Falcons shirt on. I got it for free, but I think that I can't believe Marcus Mariota. This team is just not good. they looked awful last week, and somehow they still managed to cover against the Buccaneers.
It's incredible.
Right. Yeah, they're not good.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And ATL is under 5-1 in their last 6, so the Niners are under 4-1 to start the season, 11-2 in their last 13. There's so much under, and then I look at this sharp money that's coming in on the Atlanta side of this spread, and now we've got the Niners open at 6.5. The money's starting to come in and affect that number, so people are pulling towards Atlanta. Just because of that, I skipped over, and we're going to go ahead and try and work this under. And I put in. Oh, I lied to you. I swapped up and took Atlanta +6. I chased that extra hook.
Okay. I like it. I love when I see the public just totally pounding one side. I'll go the other every single time that happens. We saw last week. Well, I mean, which game was it? There was one, I forget. Oh, in fact, I think it was this game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game last week against Atlanta. There was no money on Atlanta. I think everybody was going with Tampa Bay for some reason, and you see how that worked out.
Yeah, he gave us 3 free points.
Vegas is definitely not in the business. It would look like Detroit or somewhere if it was not these fancy palatial casinos and beautiful billion-dollar properties. If they were in the market to lose money, they find a way. The books are smart.
Absolutely, they sure do. So what was your official play? I didn't write down one for you on this game.
I'm going with the Niners, and I'll go 5.5. That's fine.
Niners 5.5.
I like that Eastern time zone trend. I'll keep sticking with that until it dies.
That was an interesting one, and I would too. There's a lot of teams that don't do so well coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. Because you're right.
Weird.
Not a lot of teams like to get up early, messes with your clock, messes with all of your routines. And these boys at this level, everything is a routine.
Yeah, so this is a 1 o'clock game this week for them.
This is where you should be ending every single parlay you build all week long. The Rams. They're going to win. They're at home. Carolina's beat up. Carolina's confused. They're strategizing about how they're moving forward. I'm sure they didn't spend all of this week preparing to actually beat the Rams. I think they just prepared to show up at the Rams' house. So, yes, every parlay I build this week will end on the Rams, and I'll figure that out later.
Yeah,
on that note,
I didn't spend a lot of time studying on this game. I saw PJ Walker starting. Baker Mayfield's officially out.
Yep.
The Steve Wilkes era is beginning. The Rams have scored 19 points in the last 2 games, so they're going to be a little tweaked. They're going to be coming out with a chip on their shoulder against a team that they should absolutely pound.
They can't afford to lose again right now. Yep.
No, I could see this game being crazy, like 41-10 or something like that.
And our spread is -10 already.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the Rams. If it went up to 14, I would still take it. I would feel comfortable in that. It's not going to, but I mean, if it did.
So you want Rams -10?
Oh, definitely. I like. I'm in full agreement on that.
Rams -10 works for me. I like the Rams this week. I don't see how. This is one of the things I like to pick on in hockey is trying to find teams that are on a normal night of action when the opponent is on a back-to-back with travel, because they always get those tired legs in the third period, and then that seems to be enough for the home team to get the face-off advantage, get some possession, and put a puck in the net to pull off a win. This is another one. Anytime somebody gets their coach fired. Just another note, too. Steve Wilkes also, I don't believe, finished a season the last time he was a coach. Did he get fired like week 9, I thought I read earlier?
Hey, going back to your point on the hockey, too, by the way. It's, you're a Denver guy. The Avalanche are in this situation against the Flames tonight.
100%. And everybody's confused as to why Calgary is currently a -125. And I said I'd rather just skip it. The Avs are unpredictable, also a very good scoring team. They also have some of the best legs. Those boys skate a lot. I do think the shortened off season and the parting with the cup is going to show up a little bit here early.
Nice.
I would have highlighted teams like Vegas and LA, who actually played against each other the night, had a nice overtime game. Vegas has strong three lines. LA struggled with that a little bit. Quick put up a nice performance. I think he stopped mid-30 shots. Both of those teams play a team who played last night and then had to travel to Vegas and LA today. So if we needed to do a little action there, it's going to be Vegas Knights, LA Kings parlayed out the door.
I like it. I like all this hockey talk. I like what I'm hearing.
Excellent. And if you want to throw the Rams in there at the end, just so we can come back to the show, that'd be awesome too, because I also did that.
Better.
One pays today and one pays us later. All right, Carolina, Seattle. I don't know that I'm super excited about either parts of this game. The best trend thing that I think I heard last week was Kyler Murray is now like 2-27 on Call of Duty double XP weekends. Wow. Amazing. That one's slightly over my head as I'm not a Call of Duty player, but somebody mentioned that to me and I found it to be hilarious.
I'm more of a combat player from like Atari. I'm kind of old school.
There you go. I haven't played Pong in a while.
That's awesome. All the trends for Arizona are amazing in this series. They're 7-2-1 the last 10, 6-1 the past 7 trips to Lumen Field. The road team is 11-3-1 in the past 15 in this series, and the underdog is 11-2-1 in the past 14 in the series. All the signs point to the Cardinals. I think that the defense has looked a little bit better after just getting absolutely pounded by the Chiefs in Week 1. Arizona's defense has been surprisingly good the last 4 games. I don't think I hate to say that I picked on Geno last week and then he lit up the Saints again. He's looked like he's playing video games out there. I'm going with the Cardinals in this one. The trends are too strong. I'll take them, especially under 2.5. It's just 2.5, not 3 or 3.5. I like that. I think the Cardinals will keep it up and send the Seahawks down to 2-4.
Hopkins doesn't come back till next week, yeah?
No, yeah, he's still got one more game out.
Yeah. Even though I'm going to jump on you here with Arizona, I actually wasn't sure which way I wanted to go in this game until I got on the show with you and talked today. So we're going to go ahead and take the -2.5 with you. The road team has won all of the Arizona Cardinals games this year. I think that one's kind of fluky, but just an interesting side note. I also don't feel like Geno Smith is overperforming. Let's just say it that way. It's not going to sustain. He's done very well the last few weeks. And right now, of course, the sky is falling. Denver's upset that Russ has died, and Seattle is just enthralled that Geno Smith is the next great coming. Neither one of those are going to maintain where they are today. So both of those will come back to the mean. I'm not going to get overly excited about either one. Arizona -2.5 sounds like a solid bet on this game. And let's roll right into Buffalo, Kansas City. This is my favorite game to watch this week, and I'm sure that's going to be everyone.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be fun. I mean, we'll get the Tony Romo, Jim Nantz call in this game too. Hopefully we'll get another Dumb and Dumber reference. We've gotten a couple from those guys already, which is interesting. I think Romo has started to make Nantz have a little bit of fun. He actually dropped a Dumb and Dumber reference last week, which is very un-Jim Nantz-like. So I'm looking forward to that part too. As far as the game is concerned, I was talking with somebody not too long ago, and they were a Bills fan, and they were like, wow, the Bills are favored in Kansas City? Are you kidding me? And
with all that money coming in on Kansas City is what I wanted to talk about, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, though. The difference here is defense. Buffalo has it, Kansas City doesn't. And I think that's going to be what's going to set this game. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Both teams are scoring over 30 points a game. But when it all comes down to it, plus Buffalo has a chip on their shoulder from the last playoffs loss when they were in Kansas City, I think that's going to help spur them on. It's not going to be much of a consolation prize to win a regular season game instead of a playoff game. But I think all the things are going in their favor. And just to win by 3, I could see 37-34, something crazy. This is going to be a fun game, and I hope it is. I hope it's not 45-12. I hope it's not 30-10. I hope it's a video game, and I think it's a lot of fun. I would like to see a lot of points here. I hope it doesn't disappoint, because this is probably the most fun game that I've looked forward to for the entire season.
I'm right there with you. It's a little weird. We've got some sharp money on the under, and then we've got this weird sort of line movement on the spread. It almost makes it look like Kansas City's going to struggle to score.
They only had one guy catching touchdown passes in their last game on Monday night. Of course, there was 4 times, but that offense is still ridiculous. I mean, they have so many weapons. It's crazy. You just never know who's going to get the ball and who's going to take. There's even like these tertiary guys like Gray and Pacheco. Yeah, you never know who's going to be able to bust it. If I was playing props in this game, I would shy away, because you just never know.
That is a difficulty with the Kansas City Chiefs team.
Definitely.
Well, on that note, I also had the over written down. We're going to snag this over 53.5 on SI and put that in as our official play.
That's nice.
I do feel like the Bills are going to win this game. I'm not sure that anybody's better than the Bills, is where I'm kind of at right now. And if they ended up trading for Christian McCaffrey, I think that creates even more of a problem for everyone else. If the Bills go in there and stomp the Chiefs right now, I think that's also going to be great for their morale as we come towards the playoffs. You definitely don't want to lose to them at the end of the year or the beginning of the year and then have to come back and play them later. That's never fun. All right. The game that's going to hurt my heart, but it's still going to be a great and exciting game to watch. We got the Cowboys coming in to the Philadelphia Phillies Stadium, Lincoln Financial Field. Batteries will be thrown, rocks in the parking lot, whatever, you name it. There's a courthouse there for a reason. This will be one of the ugliest games that happens there all year, not like on the field performance-wise, but in the stands for sure. I'll keep my eye out on Twitter for excellent fights from that game. Cowboys, Eagles. What do you want to do with this one? The Eagles look great. The numbers moved on us a little bit. Catching that 4.5 would have been nice. I see the under is getting pounded. Like absolutely hammered. The public is way on this over, and this is the most sharp money I've seen on any of the games we went through so far today. What is your take on Cowboys Eagles?
Cooper Rush is 4-0 now. That's insane to even think. That I totally thought maybe 2-2 just to kind of keep him afloat, and he's exceeded expectations here. But it's all about the defense, the Cowboys' success, really. They've allowed 72 total points for the whole year, that's amazing. Like, they're on the same line as like the 49ers defense as far as, performance so far. That's why I think that's driving the train for the under for a lot of these people. Philadelphia has an exciting offense, but if you could shut down A.J. Brown, and I think Diggs can shut him down or keep him in check a little bit, I could see the under happening, but I just wish I would have gotten in on that boat 3 points ago. 42.5 is kind of a low number, but also the under has been trending. I believe it's 20-6 now in divisional games so far this season. In primetime games, we've seen the under trending quite a bit. I would go lightly. I don't love it, but I would still go with the under at 42.5. Is there anybody on there that's 43? Do we have 43 anywhere? I'd feel just a little bit better about that.
Can I buy that?
It's not even close. Yeah, I would definitely, if I could, I would spend the money and go 43, even 43.5.
I think the hook was out there about 135, and I think you could get 43 flat at the 120, 125 range, because I did look at some alt lines for some of these. I don't like to cross those key numbers, so if I have to pay a little bit to stay on the right side of winning a spread, I think it's a good idea.
Depends on how the rest of Sunday goes.
Well, that's also true. Either way, I do think that the under is a good play here. The Eagles have been on a tear. Their offense isn't really that spectacular, is I guess what I'm trying to say. We may see small number of explosive plays in this game, which hopefully limits a couple of the touchdowns into some field goals, and that should be right where we need to be to hit this under. I do like the Dallas defense. The Eagles D is not terrible, but we still have Cooper Rush. He's got to have a come to earth game at some point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like really been tearing it up, but he hasn't been making any mistakes, which is pretty much the key.
He's been doing enough to win. And the Eagles, they have only given up 53 points in their last 4 games too. So the defense should be able to confuse him a little bit too. So again, I could see 17-13, something like that in that game. Even 20-17 is a winner. And that's easy. That's easy to envision. I don't see that being a problem at all. I don't think we're going to see a track meet. That's for sure. There's just nobody on either side. If anything, they're going to run the ball quite a bit, and underbettors love a running clock and lots of rushing.
Absolutely. Well, we got our track meet right here. It opened at 47.5.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Who's scoring? I think the Broncos D should slow down the Chargers just a hair.
I would look for money in the couch, the car seat. Get 47.5.
Until the Broncos can show me they can score. I don't think Russ is going to look this bad forever, as I stated earlier, but I definitely going to have to wait and see that from him before I'm going to get behind him with American dollars. I think I just want the under here.
I like the under too.
I'll take this 46 on points bet, and I'm just thinking like the Chargers put up even 28. I mean, the Broncos are going to have to break 20. I don't see it.
No, I don't see that. It's funny. I like the under, but I did see some interesting trends, although trends can be a little deceiving on these kind of things. Denver is 1-5-1 in their last 7 Monday night appearances, and the Chargers are 6-2 to the under in the last 8 Monday night appearances. But how many of those guys are really around from those trends? Justin Herbert hasn't played in a Monday night game. Russell Wilson was in Seattle when all those trends were happening. So I don't put a lot of stock in some of those. Sometimes you got to be smart with the trends. Some of them make sense, especially the seasonal ones from, the last 4 or 5 games that, obviously that makes sense. Those are the guys that are on the field actually making those trends happen. If a team has covered 11 in a row since 2003 in an AFC NFC matchup, that doesn't really hold a lot of water, it's worth mentioning.
Those are pretty diluted.
But yeah, I mean, it's a little silly sometimes to just strictly go with that. But I like the under here just from what we've seen from Denver. The sample size is getting pretty great now that I don't think that this offense is a very good one. Russell Wilson has struggled. I mean, they had 11, 17, 16. They haven't broke 20 at all, I don't believe. Against the Raiders, and then they lost that game. That was their only over.
The Raiders have given up 20 to everybody.
Yeah.
And the other Detroit.
It's crazy. That would be an amazing game. The line would be 60 on that game, probably. But the under is 8-1 in the past 9 in Los Angeles and I guess Carson and maybe even San Diego between these teams. So when the Chargers are home, basically it's been an under. All the signs point to an under is what I'm saying.
I'm right there with you. We'll even go out on a limb and just say that the Broncos will have a late game drive to potentially cover the spread and blow the under, but Melvin Gordon's going to fumble inside the 5.
No, that's crazy. See, I was thinking you were going to go with Nathaniel Hackett's going to elect to kick a 61-yard field goal, and they're going to blow it somehow.
Well, we're about to find out who they're going to run at running back. Are they going to play Latavius Murray, or are they going to keep struggling with Melvin?
I have Melvin Gordon in my fantasy league that I mentioned now 2 weeks in a row, which is ridiculous. I would like him to have a big game so I can peddle him on one of my unsuspecting rivals in my league. That would be awesome.
I pray for you. He has almost as many fumbles this season as Latavius Murray has in his entire career.
That's pretty crazy.
I think Lat has like nine fumbles career, and Melvin has like 26 or 7. Now there's a carries discrepancy there, but not maybe 900 to 1200. It's not.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's. He just hasn't. He's kind of due. He needs to go to the Tiki Barber school of learning how to control your fumbles. He had fumbling problems, and then he kind of crooked his arm a little bit and did that one thing, and now he doesn't play anymore. But he resolved those situations. I think Melvin Gordon. This is it. He was splitting with Javonte Williams. if he doesn't figure it out now, I mean, he might be a career backup forever.
I think he gets moved if it doesn't work out, and someone else, either Boone or Latavius Murray, can show that they can grind out a few yards a carry and do some pass pro and not fumble. He's got to get moved.
That is definitely a sell low situation.
And it's an admission of, being wrong for sure. You're still paying him quite a bit of money. And I think that's part of what's letting this linger out so long. But they're at a position now where your season is going to be slipping away from you sooner than later. They probably should just move on. All right. Do you have anything further to add, Daniel? We have covered all the games. We are about to make another week of winning record and profit for the bank account. You got any final words?
Yeah. Just going back to that Seattle situation too. They lost Rashad Penny also, obviously, with the fractured leg. And so that's going to kind of affect their offense a little bit too. So that makes me feel even better about the Cardinals. It'll be interesting to see Kenneth Walker, the rookie, if he can carry the mail for the whole game. That's a tough thing, especially in a difficult divisional game. So that makes me like the Cardinals and even more so.
Mr. Walker looked good in the carries he got last week. I'm interested to see how that shakes out.
Yeah, he was amazing. Hey, you could see just with how Michigan State struggled this year, how much of a difference maker he can be. But I still like the Cardinals there.
All right, we'll leave that as the last note. Well, that's going to do it for Week 6 Behind the Lines. Once again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
All right, have a good one.